start with an opening statement. If you have a question, just raise your hand or pass the mic around.
Great atmosphere in the United Supermarkets today, and man, I thought for our team to have added Christian and Elijah, it really showed how aggressive we could be defensively. And the difference in the game to me was forcing turnovers. Our ball pressure ramped up, and those guys just did a tremendous job making it difficult. Thought our help defense was good. Once again, defensive rebounding kind of was the sore spot of the night. But for the most part, defensively, I thought we were able to disrupt them. And then our offense, man, when we're not loose, we've got a lot of guys that can score. And as long as we keep sharing the basketball, I mean, this team's so much fun to be around and fun to coach. And it was great to have these guys back.
Coach, obviously you mentioned getting Elijah and Christian back tonight. I know that's the huge kind of highlight of the game. Just what did you feel like they were able to bring on both ends of the floor, and just how do you evaluate what they were able to do tonight? Yeah,
I mean, 9 assists and 1 turnover, and just, I mean, look at the turnovers. That's where, you know, we tried to do a little more minutes restriction with Elijah and didn't feel like Christian had been able to practice a little bit more. So that opened the game up for him to play more minutes. We put them both about where we wanted them in regards to going into the game. You know, one area, these guys, you can just see it, man. When they get in ball screens, they can just really operate. They both have strengths that are unique to them. And you can see that they've played a lot of basketball, and they have a lot of experience in making those decisions. And sure is nice. It was nice to see Chance get going from the perimeter too, because you know it kind of opens him up to really go score. And we got a little foul trouble early in the game, but man, when you have depth, you can see how you can separate and not just do it for a stretch and then it drop off. I mean, I didn't think we had a lot of drop offs other than defensive rebounding.
And you mentioned there, just when the offense isn't loose, you feel like you can score at any given time. And it seemed like it did slip a little bit there kind of in the early part of the second half. And then you went on that huge burst to end the game. Just what are those conversations like? And I guess, what does that say about y'all's coaching style, that you're pressing these guys to keep going, even when you've already established a massive lead like y'all had?
Yeah, just this team, and in college basketball in general, I mean, you have so many new pieces. And if you don't take advantage of every possession you get out here against a different defense or against a different lineup, playing people with different strengths, and we played against each other enough. We don't have any problem doing that. It's can we get out there, and let's just take, for example, that possession in transition defense where we didn't know we were guarding. They just dribbled right down the floor and shot a layup. I mean, come on, those possessions can't happen. So for me, it's just how urgent can you be, because we're about to play in games that will be a one-possession game. It's happening. And in the Big 12, how urgent can you keep your team where they understand every possession matters? And it's a huge deal to me. And that our team recognizes that and we don't get complacent.
Coach, I know it's really early in the season, and I know that stiffer competition is coming up, but to this point in the season, has JT Toppin exceeded your expectations, or is he right around where you projected him to be?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'd like to play him more minutes. But I think he's right at the minutes number that keeps him effective defensively. And it's not hard to tell he's a load offensively. I mean, the guy can make threes. He can make jump hooks from 15 feet. He can score with both hands. He can get to the free throw line. And tonight with 12 rebounds in 22 minutes, you can see he can really attack both ends of the floor on the glass. I think the area of improvement needs to be how active can we continue to get him defensively, where he's not just surviving a possession, because he's going to play against great players in our league. And but no, he's been tremendous. Yeah, I'll tell you what I love about JT. He really does want to know how to get better. I mean, he comes out of these timeouts and he's asking questions, and I love that about him. And he's got a heart to learn. And if he continues that, I mean, honestly, he's as good as anybody in the country. He really is. I mean, there's not a lot of things he can't do.
I know you mentioned this, the one sore spot was the defensive rebounding. I guess at this point in the season, where do you project you guys to be later on, and how do you continue to improve on a day-to-day basis at that?
Well, I mean, we've gone with different lineups, and the times that we struggled rebounding, I just watched the clips of it, where where when we kind of get in rotations and we got forwards helping out, and then it's like, what do you do in that scenario? And we're just not as physical as needed. One guy who's really good is Chance. Chance has done a good job. He only had 1 rebound tonight, but that's where Devin Cambridge, I was thrilled for him to get his 1,000th point in college. That's cool. Anytime you get to do that. And we're looking forward to honoring him. But he's one of those guys I think that can take a step for us in defensive rebounding. He's still just a half step trying to figure out that balance between boxing out, and he's always been a just go get it guy. Well, when the big's rotating over and you got 2 guys, you got to figure out what you're doing. And I could tell he's still getting better. And then we got to get our guards better at rebounding the ball.
Coach, you over doubled your turnover total to this point in the season tonight, running that 2-3. Is that your defensive scheme for the rest of the season, or y'all plan on changing that up at all?
What was that again?
Were y'all planning on changing any more with the defense, or is this kind of what y'all are planning to run?
Oh, I mean, I thought just watching their team play, we felt like we needed to get after their guards defensively, and so we pressed a little bit that I felt like gave us an advantage. It was that stretch in the first half where we got D5 going. That was fun. I mean, just opportunistic. And it was hard to do that early in the year just because of our numbers. I mean, with 7 guys, you know what that takes out of your team. And so by adding these guys, and we still have some more we can add, I thought that helped our team. And we'll do it with opportunities like this when we know that we can speed people up and turn them over.
Could you talk a little bit about Fede's performance tonight? Because I thought he was pretty active on the glass, ran the floor well. He seems to have some sort of a rapport with Elijah on that pick and roll action as well. So about his game tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, Fede's the greatest. I literally walk into the Womble practice facility in awe. First of all, it's a phenomenal place to work every day. But I love is one of the first guys you see, and his biggest smile as he has when he plays is him. He's like that every day. And I think our team loves him. They look for him. His effort is contagious. He keeps getting better. His lob threat is going to be a huge help. And I'd like to play he and JT some together too, and get that combination going. Just right now, we got so many guys that we're trying to look at different spots. It's taking a little bit of time to make sure that people know one position first. That way we can add other things as we get better. But man, he's a joy to be around. And he obviously impacts this game at a really high level. I mean, I don't know what the plus minus numbers are for him, but it feels like he's always in the major plus for us just because of who he is. And he's a great team defender. I mean, he's really been solid for us on both ends. So I love being around him every day.
And just a statistic, you forced 17 turnovers in the first half and allowed only 5 buckets. So I guess that's kind of more what you're looking for, right?
Don't underestimate the ability to rotate guys so that they can play as hard as they can while they're out there. That I wrote on the board, like, let's scrap. I mean, I felt that tonight. And to have nobody play more than 25 minutes across the board, I think allows you to do that. And it shows the depth of this team is our strength. And if we can continue to do that and get better and share the ball and have games like tonight. And, I thought Sonny did an awesome job with their team of staying in there and continuing to coach them. And I just think we got great depth. And, I'm really thankful for Coach Linder. I mean, you can see our offense. We've got good continuity and flow. And we shot 76% in the second half. And 71% from 3 and 100% from the free throw line. I mean, if you ask me anything, I'd just like to get to the free throw line more. But other than that, I mean, man, our execution and our ability to compete all the way for 40 minutes, I think really for the first time showed tonight.
Devin's always been kind of a capable three-point shooter, but it's not necessarily a strength of his, but he's already got 4 threes on the season in 3 games. What does that do, his ability to knock down those shots when you have just another guy who can knock them down for you?
Well, yeah, it's huge. And that's where it distorts spacing on everybody. I mean, when you decide who are you going to help off of on all these ball screen actions when you got JT and the guys that we have that can shoot it. And I thought Kerwin played his best defensive game tonight that he's played. And, you know, he played 20 minutes and he got 2 threes. I mean, at some point they got to figure out who they're going to help off of. And with these guys being as potent as they are at scoring the basketball, I mean, as long as we continue to share the ball and Devin being a big part of that, I mean, he's really growing. I think he's even got more that he can ramp up into. I mean, he's worked hard on that, though. Give him credit, because he's really worked on catching and shooting. And through this injury process, it was one area that he spent time. He's confident. He's not flicking it all over the place. It looks like he's on balance, and he's really worked hard for that. So I'm really really thankful for him and how hard he's worked.
And just kind of thinking back to last year, you guys' kind of best defensive efforts were towards the end of the regular season, when even when you were smaller, you kind of had to be a little bit more active, hair on fire kind of deal. But now you're doing that while you have your bigger bodies out there. Is that kind of the idea of keeping that kind of principle with the team you have around them now?
Yeah, you know, I think anytime you're going to play smaller guards like we have at times, I do think you have to ramp up the pressure. You just got to keep people from getting in those scoring zones to get close to the paint, and that's how you can get leverage. So how well can we be on attack defensively with those guards? And that's why the hedge has really been important for us, because it keeps that ball handler away from the rim. And then I thought we had a couple of rotation possessions that were fantastic, especially in the first half. And then the way that made the possession work, Chance got a great box out and got a rebound. And like, that's where you got to get good, is you can maybe apply some pressure and get going in rotations, but how well can we rebound it? That's kind of where my concern is. I don't have the concern about our ability to continue to get better guarding the ball.
In the first half, I believe at the 13th minute through the 7th minute, they didn't score a field goal. How do you feel that the mentality of the team was, and what were your personal takeaways during that sequence?
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to look at each other with an expectation that the defensive end is going to be our identity of winning. That's the part that I enjoyed about tonight more than anything. You saw the urgency, and I think adding Christian and Elijah gave us a lift in ball pressure that you can see all of them starting to really grow in their expectation that that's how we're going to win in the Big 12.
We talked about Devin and his ability on the court and what he's gone through, but while he's not on the court, in the building, what kind of presence does he bring to the rest of the team?
Yeah, Devin's fun. I mean, I think everybody respects his experience, and they know he really wants to win. And anytime you have anybody that takes coaching, I mean, if there's anybody that's made the biggest strides for us and wanting to be coached, Devin Cambridge has watched us from the sidelines enough to know what we want, and it's fun to hear him talk about what other guys should do. And now he's out there and he's getting the opportunity to do it. He's still allowing us to coach him and to continue to get better. His ownership in that area, I think, really provides a lot of leadership and respect from his teammates, and it's fun to see him continue to get better. Even as an older guy, he really is embracing coaching and wanting to improve, especially defensively. Thank y'all.